we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Wait, hang on. Hang on.
Oh,
Settings being what they are. Hang on.
let's see. Settings. Audio real quick. Speaker. Broadcaster. No.
You know?
There we
I
go.
see. There we go. Yeah. Perfect.
Bam, chicka, wow, wow.
I'm so excited. This is like so exciting. Like I've watched your AC journey and your coaching journey, and now you're traveling like all over the place.
Just nonstop, right? East Coast to the West Coast, or West Coast to the East Coast, because I'm from the West Coast.
So, like, first of all, thanks for coming on. I like am just like starstruck, and I know that's probably like super
Oh,
weird,
don't
but
be starstruck. Well,
yeah,
first off, I gotta say, congrats to your guys' podcast. I mean, first off, it takes, a lot to put your content out there, especially with you and your husband, Jason. You guys are doing absolutely amazing,
thank you.
just folding your laundry out there. That's what we call it, right? And some of my
Yep.
most powerful listening of the podcast is podcasts that my wife and I did together to talk about our struggles, and working together in a business and things like that. So kudos to you all for putting your content out there and being vulnerable.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been something, I tell you. Like I never I mean, I think we're up to like 50 subscribers on our podcast, which is like like but we legit started with no following, no anything. And so it's been really like eye-opening to me because I'm just a general person. I'm just me. And for somebody to tune in and be like, "Ooh, I wanna hear what they have to say," it just blows me away. Like, we're just normal people just doing normal stuff and sharing what we know and what we've experienced because ultimately what it comes down to is like there's so many people out there in this world who feel like they're the only ones who've been through a circumstance or and they just haven't.
Yeah, 100%. And, kind of piggybacking off what you said, having those listeners and followers, starting from ground zero and having none and having roughly about 50 now, I know that it took a while for me to even get 50 listeners on my
Yeah,
podcast. And then all of a sudden, a lot of podcasters, they start getting discouraged because
they
all of a
do.
sudden you find out that, hey, I put out content for the last 2 months and I got my mom listening to it, my brother, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, right? It's only my family members that are supporting me. And
Yeah,
you get defeated. And then all of
you
a
do.
sudden, it's that breaking point. And that's what happened with podcast HVAC Masters of the Hustle, right? Is 5 years ago, we started this journey and this venture. And I had a mindset of what I wanted to do with the podcast, but it's the consistency of me not giving up. And you got to think 5 years, every single Monday, HVAC Masters of the Hustle hasn't missed one episode. Not
Yeah.
one. No
Yep.
excuses, nothing. And I think that's where podcast fell, is not being consistent
Yep.
and not putting out that content to their listeners. So every
Yep.
single Monday or whatever day it is that you post that content, keep it there for them. Because then what you're going to find out is that traction of listeners are going
Yep.
to be there and they're going to be waiting for that information, which you're already finding out.
Yeah, honestly. And so Jason and I sit down and record for 3 hours at a time. And it's really just us having conversations or about stuff about articles or things that trends that we've read in the news, and it's our perspective on it. That's really all it is. Like we're not I don't feel like we're sharing gold mines or anything like that, but to get like an hour and a half of podcast content, it's 3 hours. Because by the time you chop down all of the ums and the ahs and the silences or the hang on, let me look
You
this
do
up,
that?
it's legit.
It's funny. I love hearing that you do that, taking out the ums, the buts, and because people laugh at me and they're like, man, podcasters are supposed to be original and this and that. I've edited all my podcasts from day one, and I got my family members that think I'm crazy because I don't let anyone else edit because it allows me to refresh my memory of what we talked about, Yeah, because when you're live like this, right, and you're talking, when you go listen to it a second time and you go through your edits, all of a sudden you're like, man, I didn't even pick up on that point. And now
Yep.
all of a sudden you're creating more value for yourself and you're learning from your mistakes and just going over and perfecting what you do is very
Yeah,
important, right? Body
it is.
language, tonality.
Yep, and creating the shorts. So, like, that's another, like, tip for, like, anybody is value right now is shorts. So, don't get offended if you are say, for instance, because I do social media management, like branding for your for not your website, because that's not my world. I live in social media land. So, if you're looking to grow your Instagram or your Facebook or your TikTok, whatever it is you're looking to grow, that's what I handle and manage, and it's an add-on to what you're already doing. It's a brand awareness campaign, and that's how you should think of social media. You shouldn't think of it as like make sales for you or anything like that. You should grow social media so that it's an add-on of brand awareness. So when somebody's driving down the street, they're like, "Oh, I saw their Facebook post," or "I saw them in the Facebook community," or whatever. Like, it should be a place of acknowledgement and, yeah, put some stuff out for sales or whatever, but your social media stuff, don't be offended if somebody doesn't share your post, because 97% of content right now that's being shared is short form films, short form content. So under 60 seconds is what's being shared.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And it's crazy to me, Jennifer, is that when I go to these companies, I highly, highly, agree with you of putting your content out there. Social media is a free platform that you could use.
Yep.
You can spend money and it will reach even more people. But utilize this platform that has allowed myself and many other people in this industry not to just base yourself in a city, right? But now I'm not even nationally wide. Now I'm globally known, where now I'm doing on sites in different countries, Canada, we're talking to companies in Australia now. And it's like, it's crazy what value you could give to someone over social media. But what I was saying is it's crazy. I go to all these companies and I look at, technicians, installers, comfort advisors, business owners, social media, and it doesn't even tell the story of what they do,
No,
you know? And that's
no,
crazy to me.
I know. So social media, you basically the formula that I follow is know, like, trust, follow, phone call. And you're not going to get the follow phone call if you don't have the know, like, and trust. So you can't be going out there going, phone call me, phone call me, phone call me, phone call me, purchase from me, purchase from me. They're not doing that because they don't like you, they don't know you, and they don't trust you.
Mhm.
You have to match those first 3 in every single post that you make, if not all 5 of those in a single post.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Talk about, maybe your journey since you've been doing this podcast. I think it's pretty cool because podcasting has a lot of different obstacles and different things
Uh,
of, I'm not a big technology person, but if you walked in my studio, you would think I was a nerd with technology. And the
right?
learning of everything took a lot.
Didn't it?
I
Didn't
got
it
like
though? Like,
8
holy.
cameras looking at me.
Yeah, I know, like, so I've got 3 shots sitting in front of me right now, and, I chose this seat specifically because 'cause we've got our monitor, and but yeah, there's, I mean, 3 cameras. I've got, and do you people would be like, "Dang, so you went to film school?" Nah, I'm certified via YouTube, like,
Yeah, via YouTube. So much
yeah,
value you could get off YouTube now.
right? Exactly. But no, it's, I really just, I mean, I left the electrical company and I started social media management, which I was doing for the electrical company anyways, but it was like I could be beneficial to the world if I helped more people. And I have such a crazy story background about my life and everything that I've experienced. Like, most people don't realize that I'm a veteran myself, and they don't
Thank you for
realize
your
that, like, I'm a
service.
domestic. Say that again?
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. So, like, I'm a veteran. I'm a domestic violence survivor. I've got 3 kids. We've got a blended family. We've got 5 total. Um, Jason and I, like, our backgrounds are just crazy. He's construction. I'm construction. It's like women in the trades. Like, there's so much that we could talk about.
Mhm.
And to not put yourself out there for a potential of, 1, gaining subscribers, and 2, having it essentially be some point in time, you're going to get enough subscribers that it's mailbox money.
Mm-hmm.
And all you have to do is sit down and record conversations. That's it. That's all
That's
you have
it.
to do. So whether you were like, "Hey, every Monday I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna talk about my challenges with business," or I'm gonna sit down every Monday and talk about, how to install something, or if I'm just gonna do a short clip, a 60-second clip every Monday that says, "Hey, don't forget to change your AC filter." Like, it could be anything stupid. Like, it doesn't have to be this huge grand thing, and you can start your podcast off your cell phone. You don't have to have all of this equipment. This
Correct.
is just like a this was because I could, not
I,
because I had to.
I always tell everyone just start, right?
Yep,
Just throw up, use your phone. Everyone has a phone. I mean, let's get
yep,
real. Everyone has some type of phone. Majority of people have social media, right?
yep.
And I think it's important for technicians. You don't see it often, but I think you're already in the appointments, like you said. What if you were to bring value to people that were following you and let them know, hey, I got 3 appointments on my schedule today. The
Right.
first one is a no heat, no cool. This is my mindset going in. This is my challenge that I'm probably going to be hit with. Stay
Yep,
tuned in the middle of the appointment, right? Then
yep.
in the middle of the appointment, you come out, you talk about it, and then you talk about the end result.
Yeah. Yeah. So we actually had a technician headhunted from the electric company because he was doing this. You're setting yourself up to be like your boss who's looking at your social media, who you don't even is aware is that's watching you. You're like, you're posting like maybe it's a one of those like I forget what they call that, but it's like you record the whole install or whatever, and it's like super speed.
Yeah.
Um, I forget what that's called, but, like, he was doing that kinda thing, and then he was, like, taking short form, just silly videos of, like, if, he couldn't reach a panel because it was overgrown or whatever. He was like, "Today in the jungle," and he was just being joking, but he got headhunted from our company because the other company was like, "We like his attitude, we like his mindset, we like his personality, obviously he's doing jobs." You could see his before and after work in his content, like, as a technician, you'd be dumb to not start some type of channel about what you do for a living, how good you are at it, and how happy you are to go to work every day. Because the majority of people who are hired right now aren't happy to go to work. They don't want to be there. They legit would do
Isn't that
anything
crazy?
besides what they do.
That's crazy to me that people wake up every single day not wanting to do what they're going to do, right? When you work, you're at work 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day. And it's just crazy to me. I would never physically wake up and do a job that I don't want to do, that I feel imprisoned on, right?
Yeah.
So you got to ask your listeners is what you're doing right for you?
Yeah.
And it
Yep.
might not be. And then the second thing is sometimes you might have to take that leap of faith and really dive in deep and see if this isn't the right opportunity, what do I have to do in order to get the right opportunity?
Yeah.
This is a little story for the listeners. I just had a scenario with my older brother. So my older brother's almost 40, so he's up there with age for law enforcement, okay? And he just graduated about a year ago, a year and a half ago from getting his bachelor's degree in criminal justice, completing the academy. But my mindset to him is if you got a job opens at a department and you got 100 people trying to get that job and you're doing the same shit that everyone else is doing, how are you going to get picked?
Yep.
And he's talking about excuses about COVID and this and that. And I'm like, if you want to make sure that you're known and seen, what's making you not go to the department 7 o'clock every single morning, knocking on the door and saying, I'm Scott Walker. I'm here to interview for the position, blah, 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 and just do it every single day. Even though
Yeah.
they might, right? It's being different than everyone else. And that's what I
Yeah.
tell everyone is what are you willing to sacrifice today in order to get to the level of success that you want to achieve?
Yep.
I talk about 3 things: what drives me, my why, and my purpose.
Yep.
My why is my beautiful family. And so for those of you that have followed my story or my venture, you don't even know it. Being a national trainer last year, I was on the road over 175 days. So that means over half the year, 6 months, I'm away from my family. I'm away from my beautiful kids, my 7-year-old and my 2-year-old. I'm away from my beautiful wife of 12 years. And I'm sacrificing. But I understand that I have to sacrifice in order, today, in order to live the life that I want to live tomorrow. And when you could really fine tune and look at what drives you, your purpose and your why, and you really understand that, I mean, sky's the limits of where you can go. And that's why when I'm on site, day one of my on sites, I really home in mindset with the team that I'm talking to and the culture, because I want people to understand that in the trades, HVAC, specific on this, but the trades in general, you could have financial freedom. You could have generational wealth. I mean, I know people in this industry that are ex-cons and felons that are multimillionaires. I know
Yeah.
people that dropped out of school with no high school GED or diploma that are multimillionaires, or employees, not employers, employees that are making five, six, $700,000 a year.
Yep.
Sky's the limits.
It is the limit. And so when you go into these businesses, what do you think? What do you do first? Because you mentioned mindset and culture. Does culture go first or does mindset go first?
So it's going to be mindset.
Yeah.
So when I go into a company, what I want to do is I want to find out the mindset of people, of what their mindset is going into this training, who they think I am. Do they think, sometimes I go in there and you got the guy that's been in the trade for 30 years that's sitting folding his hands and he's stuck in his ways. But that's the
Right?
guy that's going to put me to the challenge. And I actually, a lot of people say, oh, I don't like those guys, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's the guy that's going to challenge you and thrive you, right? And make you feel uncomfortable as a trainer. And as I
Yes.
continue to say is, as a trainer or in any type of situation, if you're uncomfortable and you could succeed, sky's the limits of what you could do when you're comfortable. So
Yeah.
I always, if I could change the mindset of that one person when I'm in that train, I usually go for day one. All of a sudden, day two, day three, so much easier because he's ranting and raving about it. And then all of a sudden, everyone else is buying into it.
That's so true. Yeah, and a lot of times too, like, so what I ran into, and part of the reason why I left the electrical business is it's the owner had the mindset of I'm not the problem, it's my employees are the problem. So brought in
Mm,
a trainer to train the employees, but didn't change his mindset. And it was
yes.
like, okay, so then the trainer leaves and it's like, well, you didn't buy into anything the trainer said. So who's going to hold these guys accountable?
Yeah. And that's
Like,
where a lot of people fell is they do hold the team or the managers or the owners accountable to hold their team accountable. But at the end of the day, I know and understand that that doesn't happen all the time. Or if they do hold their team accountable because they hear it from them repeatedly, they don't buy into it. Right. But when you have someone like myself that could go to a company and not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. Right. So what makes my training so popular is not only do we do, the 2 hour daily classroom training huddle, whatever you want to call it, but then I'm not just the guy that sits up in front and says, do this, do that. I go in the trenches with the team, right?
yeah,
So if they're struggling, they don't know how to battle objections, they don't know a process. It's like, all right, tag me in. I'll show you what you need to do. So if you are, defeated or in a season of failure, I'll get you out of that. And that's what I'm really good at shifting people's mindset to understanding what is possible. Having an average ticket as a comfort advisor, my last year, 19,500, tech turnover closing at 72%, marketed at 67%. So when
that's
people,
phenomenal.
right? And then when people hear these numbers living in California, they make the excuse, oh, everything's so expensive in California. That's why your numbers are so good. You can't come here and produce those results, right? I'm telling you, everywhere I go for the last 3+ years, you could drop me in any market. It's like the billionaire show that Grant Cardone was on when they dropped him in Colorado and gave him $100 and he had to make $1 million out of it, whatever it is. You could drop me in any market, any company. I don't need to know anything about their culture, whatever. As long as I have my process, my procedures, I will be able to continue the same results that I do anywhere that I can be, right? And if the
Yep.
company sets it up while on site and I do 3 calls per day, they're going to receive their ROI because I make a guarantee on that if we're set up 3 calls per day, 3 days, we'll be able to deliver 65 to $120,000 of revenue for you and your company in those 3 days.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal. So when you go out on average, how many technicians are you riding with?
So each company is different. So some companies will utilize me and they'll have multiple technicians and they'll want me to ride with maybe 3 calls, but 3 different technicians. So then I'm driving to each site, just meeting the guy at the call. Or
Yeah.
they'll say, hey, I really want you to fine tune and work with Tim today. And they'll give me just one technician or one comfort advisor for the day. But typically, what I'm doing is I'm running 3 calls. During those 3 calls as well, I'm stopping by the installs because I also want to see what the installers are looking like.
Yeah.
What that process looks like for them. Are they leaving trash out? Is everything organized in front of the house? How are they leaving the job site? Are they smoking cigarettes, stinking, right? Using profanity. So I want to get all those measures to see, hey, because that's the full circle of HVAC right there, or the trades in general. And
Right.
too many people don't take time to work with installers about how to communicate, how to talk about receiving the check or having them sign the notice to completion of the job. Because
Yeah.
too many times we turn into bounty hunters where the installers leave the job, don't set expectations, and then all of a sudden we got to go find the money. We got to go
Yep.
hunt the homeowner, right?
Yep.
And when we could communicate that thing to the homeowners, do a job walk and make sure that we're identifying whatever promise is getting delivered, and then we're going to exceed their expectations every time. I mean, that's going to go so much further as well. But you
It
have
is.
to also teach your installers to get testimonial reviews, right? Ask
Yep.
for those handwritten
Yes.
reviews.
Yep.
Are your installers signing their installs? One thing you mentioned was the electrician was posting a lot of his work, right? That's because he's proud of what he does.
Yep.
And so when you look at a painting, I just been a art collector the last year. I've been into artwork. But
Oh,
when
that's
you
awesome.
go look at beautiful artwork, right? What does that artist do?
They always sign it.
They sign it, right? That's their stamp. That's their mark that, hey, this is my Picasso. This is what I'm proud of. This is my work. So for those of you that are listening that are business owners that are in the trades of HVAC or in the trades of general, what are you doing to have your installers show pride in what they do? So for my company, it's mandatory that installers take pride and they sign the system installed by, and then there's a sticker, and then they sign it. And then that's
Yep.
the stamp right there. So then all of a sudden, when you're going to multiple different installs, oh, this is Tim's install. You
Yep.
understand the little different tedious things that they do, right? And then
Yep.
going to your installs and learning from your mistakes.
Yep. That's so true. Yeah, with the electrical company, we were doing massive lighting jobs, like massive, um, we were doing CarMax. And so
Mhm.
with that, you've got to like the crew supervisor was like, you're responsible for checking each fixture after it's been installed by your crew. And we were having the issue with quality control. And I was like, man, how do I fix this problem? Like, I'm not going to ask him to fix it, but I need to figure out a solution for this that I'm enforced with him. And ultimately it was the stickers. Like I had the date of installation and he had to sign off on it. And a sticker had to go and they had to number the light system. So it was like you numbered the fixture, you put in the date that it was installed, and then you put your initials on it. And all of those stickers got loaded up into the software. And it's like I was able to go in and be like, dude, half this stuff like you're gonna go back out and get these images. So sorry, but I don't have proof that
Right.
they were done. So if somebody doesn't want to pay me a check, I don't have anything.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah,
I
no,
mean,
all of that is so necessary. And tradesmen need to take they need to take that passion and drive that what they do has value.
mhm.
And yeah, it's not just been a 9 to 5 for you. It's not just been a get up and go to work every day for you. It's been that you're providing solutions and values to homeowners who did not have anybody to call. They needed someone to come in and fix a problem, and they picked you to do it. So guess what? You are now the expert and professional who has showed up to their door with a loaded van. Your cost is your cost. Stand behind that because to nobody besides you is going to say what your worth is. You decide your
Mhm.
worth, you decide your value. So if you want to barely pay overhead, great, barely pay overhead. But if you want to make enough for you and your family to go on vacation, to maybe go to private school, to drive new cars, to move into a new home, you're going to have to decide that for yourself. And that starts with valuing your job and owning what you do as a craft and a master craft at that.
Yeah. 100% agree with that. Mastercraft of that, taking ownership. You know, I got to ask you, you and your husband have a really good mindset. And, you
Thanks.
know, in the trades, you know, a lot of times different seasons and tradesmen, women, they get down on themselves and they beat themselves up. And a lot of times I talk to guys and girls in the trades and they feel defeated. What do
Yeah.
you do to find yourself, you know, being able to correct when you feel like you're having those seasons of doubt or anything like that? How do you feel that fire?
Well, the first thing I do is I own and acknowledge that I feel defeated. And I take that to my person, which would be him, Jason. I take it to him and I'm like, I feel defeated. I feel like, maybe everything's stacked against me or whatever. And we talk it out. Like that's the very first thing I do is I acknowledge that I feel defeated. And because if you don't acknowledge it, you just live with it. And if you
Mhm.
just live with it, you're not making any progress. And so I acknowledge it with him and I'm like, dude, I feel defeated. And he's like, all right, cool. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. And then he asks me questions and he dives into, okay, well, did you just not produce enough this week? And why did you not produce enough this week? Do we need to adjust the schedule? Do you need to wake up earlier? Do you need to go to bed earlier? Like, are you not delegating tasks that you could delegate in order to feel fulfilled? Like, you've got to be able to self identify the fact that you feel defeated. And there's nothing wrong with feeling defeated. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Everybody feels that. Everybody has a this is one of the big things that I live by. Everybody has a chapter in their book they don't want read aloud. Everybody. Everybody's book of life has a chapter they don't want anybody going back and reading. I totally accept that. But here's the other part of that whole thing is acknowledgement is the power. And so long as you're acknowledging that you're not in a good season, you'd be surprised who comes out of your network and your crowd and of the woodwork to go, how can I help you? You'd be surprised. But we're so egotistical human beings that it's like, I can't ask for help. I can't do that. People think I know everything. No, that's not it at all. Like
Mhm.
I find so I've got what's called I call it my tribal council. And if it's like something AV or tech related, anything like that, I'll shoot a message out to my tribal council and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so they'll send me like maybe they've had this experience before, so they send me a YouTube link. They're like, "Hey, watch this. It's got all the answers in it." Or it's like, "Hey, they're like, "Let me go talk to my buddy. I think he might know." Like find yourself a tribal council for every sector of your life. You're going to have like for me, I'll just talk about me. Like I've got my tribal council of my PTO moms. I've got my tribal council of my divorce moms, my domestic violence moms. I've got, my relationship, podcasts that I go and listen to and like all the people that you've met in there. Like find your tribe and your council for every season and every part of your life because you're not going to be able to go to the same person or the same people for every aspect of your life because they're not going to understand it.
Mhm.
So find people who are you can admit to and that are your safe place and go, I'm feeling defeated. And then only keep the people around who are willing to challenge you out of that mindset. Don't keep the
Yes.
people that are like, yeah, I get that. Man, I've been there before. That's stinking thinking and that's only going to
Mm.
multiply. You've got to find the people who are going to challenge you out of that mindset.
Oh yeah, you dropping some fire right there. So you know, one thing that you hit on right there that I talk about is you are who you surround yourself with, right? If
You
you
are.
surround yourself with negative people, you're gonna be negative. You
Yep.
surround yourself with news and all this drama that's going on, that's what's gonna be in your mindset, right?
Yep.
So ask yourself, who do I surround myself with? I'll tell you this, I make sure that people that I surround myself with, if there's opportunity in a room full of people and I'm not there, they're going to mention my name. You
Yep.
know, those are the people, not people that have their hand dist from you, but people that are willing to help and grab you. And that's
Yeah.
why I've surrounded myself with the mentors that I've surrounded myself. You know, my good friend Weldon Long has always had an open hand. Joe Sarah,
Yep.
always an open hand.
Yep.
Myself understanding by keeping that open hand out, you're helping so many more people. It's not all
You are.
about me, but it's
Yep.
how can I create a bigger impact and understanding the purpose, right? When I
Yep.
started this podcast, and the training. So when I started the podcast was designed to put individuals in the hot seat to talk about not their successes, right? We see all that on social media. I want to talk about the
Hell
struggles
yeah.
of maybe that Jennifer and Jason had to endure, in order to get to the level of success they are. And then maybe someone on the East Coast, the West Coast, wherever it is listening, and they get that value of information. And now it's just that little bit of information that now gets them through that barrier. Now they could
Yep.
go conquer the world, right? And that's
Yep.
what I really like is by what you're doing, right? You're allowing so much more positivity in this world. And that's what this world needs right now is there's too much negativity going on. You
Yep.
know, there's a lot of window time. What do you listen to in the window time, while you're driving in between appointments?
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you are what you intake.
Mm,
So just like you are who you are around, it's the same thing. You're still intaking them. They're people. They put out information. So you are what you intake. So you need to do a self evaluation. If you have a shitty mindset, you are what you intake. What's the music you're listening to? What's your
mm,
social media feed look like? What's your TikTok feed look like? Who are you following on TikTok? Who keeps coming across? So maybe it's time that you do a purge. If you've got a shitty mindset and think that you're never going to make it forward, you're following the wrong people, whether that's
mm,
actual in person or digitally. You are consuming the wrong thing if you can't shift your mindset. So you need to go through and do an audit on your TikTok. You need to do Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media you're intaking, you need to change it. So if you've got you're a YouTube podcast person, whatever, and you are like, oh man, I'm always depressed. Well, are you listening to fucking murder mysteries all day
right.
long? Yeah, I'd be depressed too if all I was listening to was murder. Like, if you need help, find a mindset coach. There's YouTube podcasts everywhere or podcasts anywhere. There's like I just can't like emphasize enough. You are what you intake and you are what is around you. And so if you are struggling with your mindset, it's because of the shit that you're allowing on autoplay that you don't have to allow.
Mhm.
And people are like, "Oh, I just need to delete social media." No, keep social media. Social media is amazing. Change what you're looking at.
Yes, 100%, 100%. As you're talking about what we're looking at and changing, I always find when you surround yourself and go to networking events or not networking events, but events in general, there's a
Yeah,
lot of trade events. People go to trade events to better themselves, a lot of them.
absolutely.
So those
Absolutely.
are great ways, but at the end of the day, you got to invest in yourself, just to
You
let
do.
everyone know a plug. My company, we're throwing a pretty big event out here in California, September 8th. And this is my way of saying thank you to everyone. Typically, our events are 1,500, 2,500, depending on the ticket. But I'm throwing this event 100% free, and I got
Wow.
the legends of the trades of HVAC that are all going to be on stage. You got Joe Coursera, you got myself, you got Weldon Long, you got Drew Cameron, you got Joe Cunningham, you got all these massive names that no one in my lifetime has ever put these guys all on one stage, and they've been doing this stuff
Yeah.
for 30 plus years. And I'm the first one to get that opportunity to put all these legends all on one stage for one day. And it's out here in California. So if you guys want the opportunity to go to that, you could comment below or go to our website, www.hvacmastersofthehustle.com. But like I said, that's my way of giving back to everyone to say thank you, because starting this podcast 5 years ago, I never in a million years, Jennifer, would have thought that it would have made me a national trainer, right? That I
Yep.
would have been able to leave my job where I was making really good money to now, instead of working for the man, be the man,
Yep.
provide for my family. Ed Milet talks about being the one. There's
Yep.
always that one in that family. And what I need you all to understand is I am that one. I believe, very, very truly that I'm the person that could completely change the trajectory of not just going from paycheck to paycheck and struggling and not getting my truck repoed once, but twice. The second time it got repoed was my work parking lot. So, but putting yourself in the trajectory of, well, now I could produce and get generational wealth or financial freedom. Or maybe if money's not a motivational for you, hey, I want more time with my family, whatever that
Yeah.
motivation is for you.
Yeah, and I tell my kids, and I cannot wait to get the details on this event, but I tell my kids that what I view as success doesn't mean that you have the same view of success.
Yes.
So, ultimately, before you even get started and you decide where you wanna end up, you've gotta decide what success looks like for you. And for one of our kids, success looks like having no necessary home, but traveling the world.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. The other one's like success looks for me like opening up a farm and raising animals. Fantastic. My other one's like, hey, success for me means I have an X amount of money in the bank account. That's great. And I think that that also goes into your employees. Do you know what they actually deem as success? Because what you deem as success is not the same thing for them. Like they
Mm-hmm.
may go, hey, success for me is working 3 days a week. Great, let's make that happen because when you're
Yes.
successful, I'm successful. Hey, I'm success for me is I want to make this much an hour. Fantastic. Here's a plan on how we can both make that happen. You need to be sitting down and having these conversations with your technicians and truly get to know them on this level of like, hey, this is if this what success is for you, how do I make that happen? It may be success for them is like I've never owned a home. Great. Let's sit down. Do you have a secondary bank account open? Let's maybe separate some of your paycheck to where we can get you that 20% down for your home.
Yes.
Like you've got to have these conversations with your people and set them up and start it now. Like you can't just believe that success for them is, oh, I get to go to work and I get to clock in every day. Nah, fuck that.
No.
That ain't happening. Like I guarantee you that's not success to them. And if you're stupid to think that you think that they're happy enough just clocking in. That's not it. Maybe their
No.
success is like, I really would like to go to Disney World. Great. Do you have a second bank account set up? Let's get a portion of your check going. So let's get you to Disney World. Like they're not, you don't have to say, okay, I'll give you Disney World. No, you give them the tools to work towards Disney World. And guess what? That means more to them because you taught them how to fish instead of giving them a fish.
Yes. 100%. Wow. Just dropping bombs, Jennifer. One thing that I like that you said is understanding what your people want to achieve, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times day one for me isn't just talking mindset, but we also go through vision boards and goal boards. And I physically have my team purchases the board so no one has any excuse, oh, I didn't have any time or anything like that. And I give them a homework assignment and I hold everyone accountable. And still to this day, I don't know if it's my leadership skills or me saying this, but in the last 4 years of me doing this, I have not had one company as an onsite not show up day two with all their vision boards.
That's
Now,
awesome.
that speaks volumes. And I say that because no one wants to be that person, right? Especially doing this consistent for 4 years. But what this allows you to do is when I talk to business owners, I talk to them on a deep level, right? And I'm like, tell me a little bit about Mary. What does Mary want to achieve? What are her
Yep.
goals? I don't know. I don't know. Well, as a leader, how don't you know these things, right? We're supposed to be leading by example, bringing everyone
Mm.
to the mountaintop with us. And if we don't understand where they want to go, then there's no direction. And then you're just wandering, right? So we physically need to have them write down what their 1 year vision goal is, what their
Mhm.
2 year, 3 year, 5 year, whatever that is. And now we need to celebrate as a team or as a culture, right? And celebrate those wins as they come into the office. The goal boards and vision boards are in the warehouse or they're in the training room, wherever it is, where they could see it and identify it every single day. And as a
Yep.
business leader, right, you have to set the roadmap of, like Jennifer was saying, let's set up a second bank account. What are you doing to make sure that your employees are crossing off those items, right? Because
Yep.
you have to hold yourself to that standards. Because I mean, there's a reason why you work for the company that you work for, right? There's a reason why you do what you do. If not, again, I wouldn't want to wake up, doing a job that I don't appreciate or want to do every single day. And I know a lot of you listeners might be doing that, but these are
Yeah.
ways that Jennifer's talking about that maybe you might not be happy with what you're doing right now, but how can we change that mindset to maybe doing what you do, but let's make you happy doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too that I run into quite a bit because I go to a ton of trade events. Like, because I've got the other podcast, which is the Feral Business Owner podcast. We're all here just figuring shit out. Like we rip off the band-aid, we talk about the shit nobody wants to talk about. And
Mhm.
then and so I go to a ton of trade events, and I'm talking to contractors, and like it just blows my mind. They just
Yeah.
are so far in their way. Like, they just are so far in their way. It's like, y'all gotta stop. Just get out of the way and get your employees on board. But here's the other deal. Like, people think because, like, they don't they limit their employees because they're scared their employees are gonna become their competition. There's enough business in the marketplace for competition to exist, and if you're scared your employees are gonna go out and become your competition, they're going to come out and become your competition.
Mhm.
If you actually had a tried and true place of employment, and a place that people loved coming in, and a place where they were meeting their goals, and a place where all of their ambitions and wants and everything was being met, and they would not become your competition, they would continue to be your employees.
Absolutely.
So, you've got to change your mindset on the fact of, "Oh, I don't wanna train them because that gives them more access to leave." Okay, they're gonna leave anyways, so
Mm.
why not give them the best to make you the best while they're still with you?
And one thing that always hear all the time from business owners too, Jennifer, is, I don't know if I want to invest in training right now because I don't know if I have the right people. I think they might leave, right? Well, what happens if they don't leave? How much more money are they going to be spent? Like, why do you have that mindset? Like, I hear this stuff and I'm just like, okay, I still think we should do the training as soon as we can. I could care less because that person, you haven't fired them yet. They've been employed with you for 2 years now, and you keep complaining about them. And it sounds like you're going to continue just keeping them on. So now let's fine tune, because how much money are they costing you?
Yeah. Well, and I touched on this in one of my last podcasts with Jason was like, cost of doing business. You've got to start off by doing a cost of business, because are you charging the right amount for your services rendered? Or are you just going off of what you think? Like, what's your cost of doing business legit? Because you should be able to tell by the hour what you need to be charging for everything that you offer to your employees: truck, fuel, overhead, insurance, health insurance, cell phone plans, vehicle tracking, inventory. Like, you need to, there's so many things that go into that cost of doing business, and it sucks to do. It sucks. I was the one that was responsible for doing it. But at the end of the day, I was able to tell you by the hour. And to that, if we had a technician call out sick, I was able to tell you what that van sitting in the parking lot was costing.
Mm. Which they should
So
know.
you should know this.
You should know this. Yeah,
If
it's
you don't know
crazy.
this, you need somebody who knows this.
Yeah. You need a mentor.
Yes, you do need a mentor. You need a business mentor, and then you need to get sales coaching in for your guys. And I there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, and so many people just jump off into business going, "Oh, I'm making money because there's money in my bank account." That don't mean
Yeah.
shit. I'm glad you
Yeah.
checked your bank account. Like, everybody should check their bank account, right? But just because there's money in there does not mean that you ran a profitable week last week, or that you even ran a profitable install, for that
Yeah.
matter.
100%. You got to be looking at everything. I can't tell you how many times I do talk to business owners, and I talk to them about what their profit is or their EBITDA, and they're like, look at me like deer in headlights. Like, I don't know. I'm like, so you shoot from the hip? Yeah, we're probably about 15%. I'm like, all right, well, I got to see the numbers on
So
that,
they're probably
because
like 2.
yeah, two, right? Absolutely. Jennifer, what is your plan and your goal for yourself in the next year, 2 years? I mean, I love what you're doing. I love what I'm seeing.
Thanks. Yeah, a goal for myself, I want to, book some public speaking events, motivational speaking, public speaking, got an awesome story and testimony to share, grow our podcast, our network, and just keep doing what we're doing. We're super happy with where we are in life. We are here for our kids. We've got an awesome schedule. We I mean, I don't know. I'm happy with where we are. The only thing I really guess wanna add is that I wanna do some public speaking events.
So, what's going to be your upcoming public speaking event? Do we have
I
anything in the
don't have
works?
one on the books right now. It's a huge goal of mine to book something right now
Oh, well,
and to go out
that's
and
what I'm
speak.
here for. Okay. Well, I'm going to get you on stage. So, I'll have to talk to my team about this, but I have two events. Okay. So if you want to come out September 8th, you're more than welcome. I could probably free up 30 minutes on stage for you so you can get
Phenomenal.
in front of an audience. If September 8th doesn't work for you, I'll be in Nashville throwing another event in November.
I can do
So,
both.
well, there we go. So what I'll do is I would love to have you, your listeners, anyone that wants to go to the event September 8th in Vacaville, California. It's beautiful. You're about 20 minutes from Napa. You're about an hour from San Francisco, which I highly don't recommend going there. And then if you want to drive an hour uphill, you're about an hour and a half from South Lake Tahoe, which I do highly recommend everyone going there
That
because
is awesome. So I'm actually from California. We moved from California to Texas in 93, and I grew up in a little teeny tiny town called Atwater,
Atwater. Okay.
right outside of Fresno. Yeah, it's
Yes.
tiny.
Yes. I was gonna say that's like Fresno, Bakersfield there. That's like the armpit of California.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like,
for sure. Yeah, I went to a tiny little Catholic school, and then my parents were like, "Hey, California is kind of self-imploding, so let's move out to Texas." And I've been a Southern girl ever since. So, but yeah, California is where I started, so it'll be nice to go back home for a little bit.
absolutely. And I'm in Texas all the time, and I gotta say, Texas is nice, but the heat. Oh man, like I get humidity because I love Alabama, but there's a whole different. I think like Austin probably has the worst humidity out of everyone, out of like all the state or cities right there. Would you say Austin
For heat?
for the humidity?
Oh, humidity is Houston.
Houston,
Humidity is
yeah, Houston.
Houston.
That's what it is. Yes, Houston.
Houston
Ah,
is the worst. Like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need it. I don't even like Houston. Houston, like, smells like armpit, if not, like, a garbage can. Like, I don't need I'm good. Um, so, no, I love Austin's not bad, San Antonio's not bad. DFW, like, is amazing. It's
the
growing
airport sucks.
exponentially. It's insane how fast the DFW market's growing, but everybody is like, you know, leaving there to come here.
Right. So what I'm excited about is this event to get you on stage. Like I said, I'll find time to get you on stage with my team and everything. But let's
Awesome.
plan September 8th, California. It's a month away. I
It
would
is.
be super honored to have you a part of it, get you up there. Because what I like about events, social media, doing podcasts like this, it's great, but when you're on stage and you're in front of people and all of a sudden they can see the passion that rolls out behind it, it's like, holy crap, it goes 10 times force, right?
Yep.
So I would love to be able to be that person to get you on stage to fulfill your dreams. Like that's what my goal and my job is as a leader, is to help people discover different avenues of different things that they want to do. So if I could have that platform of putting you on, absolutely.
Heck yeah. And I'm excited to market your event to everybody, especially both of them. One you got, like you said, coming up in October or no, September 9th, sorry. And then November. Like that's man. And to get me out of this heat during the peak of it, I'm okay with that.
Right? I
Only
got you, girl.
116 today. Like
You
it's
gotta
cold.
bring Jason too, though.
Okay, yeah. He's sitting across from me. He's tech, you know.
He's
Yeah.
tech man
I
today.
will. Yeah. I'll bring him with me for sure. We'll have the grandparents come and handle all 5 kids. We'll make sure we leave plenty of Xanax for them.
Yeah, right? There you go. And if you wanna stay an extra couple days, we'll go side by side and we'll have some fun. It will be so
Yeah.
the event's on a Friday, so then you can stay Saturday, Sunday, we'll have some fun.
Awesome. Are you gonna oh, he's gonna pop in and say hi.
Oh, he's popping in. What's up, Jay?
Hang on just a second. Oh, you're on mute.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, bud? How you doing?
You're on. Mm.
How are you?
Oh, dude, I'm extremely blessed. I'm very honored to be on the show. And I was telling Jennifer, I love what you guys do because I mean, I'm sure you've been listening to me talk, but to be vulnerable and to be able to go up there with your spouse and to put this stuff on social media, to let anyone and everyone be exposed to you, is amazing. And I just got to give you guys kudos because you could tell that you guys have a very, very good relationship, and it always takes that support system, right? with me traveling as much as I do, if I didn't have a good support system at home, if I didn't have a rock star wife to, I talk about it when I leave every single week because I'm gone away from my kids, I'm crying. A lot of times I leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, they're sleeping. I don't want to wake them up. And I'm driving to the airport in tears because I
Just
have to
thinking about 'em,
sacrifice, right? Just thinking about it.
Did you say goodbye? Did you kiss everybody on the forehead
Yeah.
before you get on a plane?
Yeah. Or like, what if something happens and like, is my network going to be there for my wife? And like, can I
Mhm.
truly count on everybody that's going to handle everything while we're gone? Like, all of that plays into a factor of us being on that high ranking platform of helping other people. Like, the sacrifice of us stepping out and leaning on our network is so much more than just us going out and helping and making these other companies thrive, because we have to make sure that our home is also going to thrive when we step out and do that.
That's right.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, Jason, what do you think about Jennifer going to be a part of the event? I'm going to make her part of it.
Well, I missed a whole lot of stuff because I was on another meeting.
Well, hey, so we got an upcoming event September 8th. I got some, it's the Legends of the Industry of HVAC, and I really love what you guys are doing and stand for. And I would love for her to be able to get on my platform and to really deliver the passion that I can 100% see behind the screen. But I was telling her there's a different level between passion behind the screen and the people being there live feeling the passion.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I would love to give her the platform to do that this upcoming September.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for her.
So how long did it take you all to get dialed in your camera switchers and really understand how to set everything up?
Man, if you go
Honestly, all you got to do is go watch the podcast and talk
that's exactly what I was gonna say, is go back to the beginning, because we didn't delete anything. You'll go back and see when like we had camera audio and mic audio going at the same time, when we had the wrong lighting, when we had
the sound barriers falling from the ceiling because they weren't stuck very well.
Sound barriers behind. So this whole room is sound barriered, right? The studio. So when we first bought this house, we moved into this house about 4 months ago. So I was so excited before we even moved in. I was like, I'm getting the studio ready. And I get all these foams off Amazon and some like the 3M stickers to go on the back of it. And I'm like, oh, it recommended it. And I was like,
That's
okay,
right.
cool.
Yep.
Spent about 3 hours on these two walls right here. This one and the sidewall. Came back the next day. Every single one fell.
Yeah,
Every single one. So then I was like, so then I go, you know what? I'm not using these 3M stickers. So I bought a Gorilla Glue spray.
Oh, good.
And I sprayed the crap out of the back of them.
I was
And I could
thinking,
pull these things. They ain't going anywhere now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're gonna have to replace the drywall. Like, forget, like, if you change something, forget it. You're just gonna have to
Yeah, that's my wife's like, what are you doing? I was like, yeah, hopefully we don't have another kid because this would probably be the kid's room and it's gonna be a nightmare.
If not, it will. Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe not. Just stick with like I don't know, like a race car theme or something.
Right.
It's already got that vibe. Like, and then if they cry, nobody's gonna wake up. Like, I see bonuses, not like
nothing
Right?
negative.
nothing negative.
It's funny because everyone always asks me, are you a Steelers fan or is your favorite color black and yellow? And I'm like, no, not at all. I'm a Raiders fan. I don't like black and yellow. It's just my company colors being gold and black really stands out. So this is what we got in the studio.
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody's like, so you guys are going goth now? Or and I'm like, nope. You don't have to change color settings on any camera if you wear black.
That's right.
Yep. 100%, right? Hey, and black makes us look nice and slim, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I'm super, I love what you're doing for the community. I love that you're helping HVAC technicians and business owners just know their potential, know that what they're capable of, and you're actually doing something to fix the trade. You're not sitting back and going, oh, we're going to lose the trade, or we're scared of this or scared of that. Like, no, you're holding everybody to a standard so that the homeowners know what to expect and only hire someone who holds themselves to that standard. Because homeowners are your first customer. And so if, we've got to retrain customers to stop going, oh, I want the cheapest guy. No, you don't want the cheapest guy. You want the most experienced guy.
Yeah.
And you need someone.
Doesn't mean it's got to be the most expensive guy.
Nope.
You just
Yep,
want
not at all.
want good people in your house.
Yep, exactly. And you've got to be able to have somebody who's here's the deal is people are going to refer you when they remember how they felt when you left.
Yes.
They're not going to refer you because of the price tag. They're going to refer you because of how they felt when you left their home. And so that's what you got to focus on. Quit focusing on your number, quit and start focusing on the policy, the procedure, and how to run a service call. That's what matters.
Not only that, I'm going to piggyback on this because I love that what you said right there. So, too many people when it comes to high-end tickets or happily involve the homeowner on a system replacement, all of a sudden, maybe they did create the relationship because they put ink on paper, but all of a sudden they get ink on paper and they rush and they leave. And you see their tail lights, and all of a sudden they're like, man, all of a sudden he got my signature and he left. Well, that's why I like to post close, right? And I talk about the importance of post closing. Once you get the signature, stay there, hang out with them, talk to them, tell them congratulations on what they just purchased. I mean, it's not sexy like buying a car, right? Where you could show it off to your friends, make them feel good. Talk about buyer's remorse. A lot of people, they buy systems once or twice in their life. So it's common to have buyer's remorse when you're investing $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 in this investment. And Bob and Betty, if you do have that feeling, here's my card. Give me a call so I can work you through that. And then I leave them with 3 reasons why they chose me today, because that's the emotion of why they chose you, and people buy off emotion. And if I was to leave that call and they were to, life happens, maybe you're 3 days out on an install, they go back to work, they go to church, they talk to someone knows somebody. All of a sudden, when they call to cancel, you bring them back to those 3 emotion points of why they chose you that day, that hour, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, a lot of times you could save your jobs by doing that.
Yes. And for me, it was for that exact same thing that would happen for us in the electrical field was that because you've already developed that relationship and you've already established the homeowners already got those feelings established, they thought that everybody was going to make them have those feelings. And so it was easy for somebody to come in and then they're let down because they're like, oh, that company gave me those feelings, not any company. And so they, people like to jump on the fact of why they feel good, let me get them to switch. And they forget why they felt good. So I love that tactic of like, hey, here's those 3 things, because just because you feel good doesn't mean that next company's going to fulfill the feel good.
Right.
Yes.
That's my mind. He asked me earlier, he was like, how do I have such a good mindset? What's your opinion?
What's my opinion?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You pull the good out of everything, honey.
Thank you.
You do.
How long have you 2 been married?
We are not married. We are just engaged.
See, I keep calling you husband. Why you got?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, I mean we live as if we
That's
are.
how
So
we identify.
I mean, you have a great relationship, engaged, whatever. I mean, I love what you guys do. I could see the chemistry, everything. I mean, like I said, in order for me to be successful as much as I am, I have to owe it all to my wife, because I wouldn't be able to be on the road. And like I was saying, when I want to go home and I feel defeated and I feel like, hey, I want to spend time with my kids, she's the one that gives me the extra encouragement and the extra like, go do it. You got this, babe.
Yeah. And honestly, like your kids aren't going to remember the times that you were gone if you maximize the time that you're there.
Yes.
So take advantage of the time that you are present and be present. Put your phone away, step out of your studio, or even, and for us, one of the big things, because we do this all the time, is we've got family mic night. And so we come in
we
and
bring them in here.
We bring them in here and we just let them
I
free roam.
love it.
They record.
They love it.
They love it. They record their own stuff. And, if they've got a friend staying the night, we get the release from the parent. And, they record their own thing. Now they have their own episode up. Like, that's the kind of stuff.
Empower it.
Yes. Empower the fact, because that's where we're going.
That's where they're going ultimately.
Yeah.
They're going into a tech world.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, YouTube's massive. I mean, look at Ryan's World, right? My boys love Ryan's World. And it's like, I mean, you got this kid, I think he's 8, 9, 10 years old. They got Happy Meals. You got toys in Walmart. The dude's a multi-millionaire. It's crazy. And that's what the world is evolving to.
It is.
Yeah. So it's all about just, I don't pressure yourself so much that you're gone. Pressure yourself about what you're doing when you're not gone, and
Yes.
be where you are. So if you're gone, go. If you are,
That
if
was
you are,
loud.
if you're home, be home, but be wherever you are. And that for me has been one of the biggest eye-opening awakenings, is wherever I am to be, just to be.
Yeah. I'm looking, I see that there's some live watchers right now. Maybe some of them have some questions
Oh yeah.
for you
Shoot
all
over.
or myself
Oh,
that they
you
might
clicked
want
out
to.
of you clicked out of
Alright,
my
pull it
thing.
up.
Oh, okay.
For those of you that are watching live, if you have any questions for myself
Yeah,
about my
shoot 'em.
training, what I've been doing, maybe you got questions for Jennifer and Jason about what
Anybody.
they've been doing. I think this is a good little opportunity to do a little Q and
Yeah.
A.
Jason's pulling
I'm
it up.
trying.
You're good.
Oh, you're good.
I'm trying to see where they're at because we're on 4 different.
Yeah, we're broadcasting on 4 different streams.
I got it.
I mean,
love
we're
it.
only reaching some people.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I love when somebody is empowering the trades and is willing to help, is where my big thing is. I just help, man.
How'd you discover myself and HVAC Masters of the Hustle?
So I actually went to was it 2 years ago in Vegas? You need
They're
my
on your
phone?
page.
Okay. I went to what was the name of that event? It was 2 years ago and it was in Vegas. I am drawing a blank.
Was
But
it
you were
Profit Rocket or
No, it wasn't
Victor
Profit Rock.
Joe
I think
Crucera's event?
Yeah, it was Joe Crucera's. Yeah, but I can't remember the name of his event. I remember him, but I don't remember the name of the event. Right? I know, my brain.
Was that the one that was in downtown Vegas? It wasn't on the main strip, but it was downtown Vegas.
It was at the Golden Nugget, wasn't it?
The Golden Nugget. Yep.
Yeah, it was that one.
Yep.
Yeah, so I
Ah,
met you there at that first event, and I just watched you and have just really just taken and listened. Like, I listen so much and watch and just see what everybody's doing, and are they living by what they're doing. And I
yes.
honestly can say that about you, is you're living what you talk about. You're not going in and filling people full of bullshit. Like, you are truly living on a day-to-day life in an hour by hour interaction with everything you talk about, everything you teach, everything that you're putting out. You're putting it out from experience. You're putting it out because of what you actually live and know. And you can't make that up.
Walk the
Eventually,
walk and talk the talk.
exactly. Like, and they talk about your online persona, and it's like, no, you don't have an online persona. Your online persona is who you are in real life. And if you've got to put something on, people aren't going to know who you are when you meet them.
Yep. I agree with you 100%. And it's crazy to think, and I don't know if you're an introvert, but I'm an introvert. So when people see me in Las Vegas on stages and, in front of 1,000 people or 500 people, it's outside my norm. I mean, you guys see me, they see me on stage and they're like, you did awesome. And I'm like, man, you should have saw me 5 minutes before I went up there. Like, I'm a total mess. I doesn't matter how many times I do a speaking event, if it's my speaking event, whatever it is, I'm a mess. I mean, that's they did a study at, I don't know, we'll say a funeral, but they say that people would rather not talk about the person inside the box and be the person in the box,
Right.
which is crazy to me because that means that public speaking is more of a fear than death itself.
Yep. Yeah. Honestly, it is. Like, you're 100% right. We got Drew that says, hey, Jennifer and Jason, I love the real, the raw, the candid moments. Keep rocking it. Keep going.
Love
And he
it.
can't wait to get an invite to the September event. And yeah, that's really all we've got right now. Nobody's really got any questions, but I always tell Jason, I'm like, our lives live on forever. So I'll go in and change the description. I'll
They
put your
do.
link to your event and just keep rocking it. I can't wait to get the details lined out for September. But I'm excited. I love what you're doing and I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for the community and the network that you're doing. And one of the biggest things for me, and I'm sorry if I've hurt any of the HVAC world, is I get invited to a ton of events, But when I get that public speaker flyer, because normally it's the headshots, right? Of like, hey, this is our main line, whatever.
Yeah.
There's no female in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll call them out on it. I'm like, man, I would love to go to your event, but I'm not paying to hear another man speak. Like, I'm done. I'm done with it. Like, there are
That's why you
so
got to have women on the platform. Women are making a huge impact in this industry, and we
they
got
are.
Isn't it
we
awesome?
got Cassie that's gonna be dropping bombs September. Having you on stage is gonna be dropping bombs. I love involving women in the
Yep.
trades that are just absolute rock stars. Which
Yeah.
you're a rock star.
Thank you. And you as well.
And
Absolutely.
I want to get I know we're live right now, but I also want to get a time where you and I could sit down privately and talk more on a business side of
Yeah.
how you and your team could help us in San Diego with personal plumbing, heating and cooling, with marketing and social media.
Absolutely. I would love to be able to help with any of that.
So
Absolutely.
have you dove into exactly what you do for social media?
Yeah, we did touch on
Right
that.
on.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Well, I don't know what your time limit is for today, but I don't know. What is your time limit for
I'm
today?
good. I'm
Okay.
good. I
Oh,
got
yeah.
like 20 minutes, whatever you want
All
to
right.
do.
Yeah. Like, cool. So whatever else you want to talk about, I'm here for it. I'm like, yeah. Well, back to the whole the men panel thing. Like, I've just been like, I'll just reply back. They're like, hey, we want to give you tickets, or they call you or whatever, and I'm like, okay, cool. Send me your lineup. Like, I want to see who's at your event first, and then they'll send it to me. And I'm like, no, I'm good. They're like, well, what do you mean? What's holding you back? I'm like, you don't have any women speaking. They're like,
Mhm.
oh, and I'm like, did you realize that like 50% of businesses are either 50-50 husband wife teams or 50% owned, women owned?
Mhm.
You realize that, right? And so having her go and learn from a female speaker, wouldn't that make
Absolutely.
sense?
Yeah, hit both sides, right?
Exactly. So, yeah, it just blows my mind still that there's still such a lag in thinking about inviting female speakers or female business owners to be on a panel. And
Mhm.
and so I went to I was in Fort Lauderdale this past what was that, March, I think, March or April. I was in Fort Lauderdale and I was on the women's panel for speaking about women in business and the roofing business, and just like what you need to be doing and what the challenges are. And it was a really great panel, but I think we need to get away from having women panels, because why do we need to be just a women's panel? Like,
Mhm.
why can't we be on a panel with everybody else? Why you got to separate it?
Yeah. And I agree, and it's one of the most impactful women that I've met in the trades, and I get the honor to do on-sites with them, is Amanda Triolo in New York. So Grasshopper.
Yeah.
And you talk about a powerful team right there. I mean, she's been doing speaking events, and talking on stage was something that she was uncomfortable with. But as you can see, this last year, she's been on like 6 different stages. She's traveling. She'll be in, I think, Texas at Victor's event here in late September. So, I mean, just what women are doing in the trades in general, like you were saying, I mean, absolute rock stars. They're causing and making a big difference. Women technicians, installers, sales professionals, business owners. I mean, it doesn't matter.
No.
They're in every single department now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got one of my oldest wants to go to welding school, and she wants to become a welder. So I've got 3 girls, and we got 3 girls and 2 boys. And so my girls, I always wanted them to know that, like, you don't have to take the traditional route. You don't have to be the whatever society says traditional is for you. You can step out and be whatever you want. And to that, maybe you want to do something untraditional because it means less debt, and that's okay. And so go to trade school, try out a different trade, do whatever you want, because I'm here to tell you, it's easier to start a trade while you're young than it is to go to college, realize you don't want to go to college, and then start a trade. So why not start a trade first, go into the trades, do that, and then go back to college, because you can always go back. Like, college is always and forever going to be there. It's always. Education is always there.
So Drew Cameron, big EGI trainer, he's commenting. He said, "Hey, Jason and Jennifer, love the real talk. Also, invite her to the September event. He'll be talking on stage. Please share some ideas on how you suggest marketing to get women to join the trades."
Absolutely. You've got to first put a ton of speakers out there. You got to put the women out there who are willing to come on stage, and you got to make them feel comfortable and invited to the event. That's a big part of it. Like when you've got your main, banner that's going out, and you've got 7 male speakers and 1 female speaker, like the odds aren't in the favor. Like
Mhm.
you've got to, I know it's going to suck, and you're probably going to have the same female speakers over and over and over again, but eventually you're going to have more. Like it's the same thing. Like even though like you just have to try. Like I just feel like there's so many out there who are trying. So I don't want it to be like, oh, she's harping, nobody's trying. Yeah, there are companies out there who are having women come on stage and having women talk, but reach out to businesses and find podcast people, and maybe even like the people that you're going out and training with. When you go out there and talk, it's like, hey, what education's out there for you? How are you learning? Like, and ask them, because they're going to be your feedback. They're like, oh, well, I'm learning from whatever. Okay, cool. What a networking group. Here's another great idea. Why don't you guys open up a chat for HVAC side hustle people that's just females?
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. Anybody can open a chat specifically for females, because now you have a place for them to congregate, because women congregate, we group together. Like, and so give us a place to go. Like, that's the other thing, is it's like, why don't you go, hey, we are creating a space and a place for women to come talk about what it's like to go into the field, what it's like to go to school, what it's like to work in HVAC offices, what it's like do that. That's a great place to start reaching your community, is creating a place for us to go and talk and have a safe place to go, hey, I'm challenging this. So any whether it's your company, whether it's any other marketing agency that's out there, do that. Create a maybe a page or a Facebook group or whatever. So like for instance, the House Call Pro has Lady Pros. I was
Yeah.
one of the founding members of that. Service Titan has Lady Titans page. Like create yourself a page or a group specifically for women. You're doing yourself a disservice. I can't even talk. A disservice
Gotcha.
by not doing it. That's your whole thing right there. That's a great place to start, and making us feel comfortable and welcome is the fact that you've dedicated a space to say we're safe and we want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. 100%. Boom. Just dropping bombs. She's been dropping bombs this whole episode. Just bam, bam, bam. I can't wait to see what you drop on stage.
That's
By
just-
the way, my wife
Yeah,
just got
wow.
those. My wife just got those pair of shoes that you just got. She showed me
Ah.
them this morning.
Yes.
She's all, look what I got. I was like, all right, cool.
They're so cool. And I have little feet, so I shop in the kids department. So they're
Oh.
actually kid sizes. but
Hers too. Yeah.
Mm.
She's like 5'2", nothing, 5'1", maybe.
yeah, I'm 5 foot tall on a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I meet you, a lot of people they think I'm small and on camera there, and then they see me and they're like, well, you already got to see me, but I'm actually big, right? I'm 6'3", 200 pounds. They're like,
Yeah.
oh man, you
Yeah.
look way smaller on camera, bro. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. And when people meet me, they're like, you're a lot shorter than I thought you were. I'm like, I know. But so talk about some of your key things that you're going to be putting on at this event.
So with the event, I'm going to talk about mindset, motivation, really thinking outside the box. You got Weldon Long's going to be talking about closing and presenting opportunity when opportunity is not presented. Joker Sarah is going to talk about what should we do, his famous line, right? So it's really engaged to allow individuals to understand what's possible.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do is, there's going to be, I did some trainings with breakout rooms and things like that, but I don't like the breakout rooms when they got to pick and choose, because
Yeah.
that means they're missing information. Right.
Yeah.
And so the last event that we did, we did it in Salt Lake City, Utah at Any Hour. And we were able to conduct 200 contractors, but as we had breakout rooms, everyone was able to filter through each breakout room.
That's
so
good.
As they were doing tours, we had Philip Clemens, who does 7.5 million. He was talking about call by call management. And then they would shift into my room talking about sales. But that was really good. And I think that's where a lot of trainers with their conferences missing is they overbook their speakers, and all of a sudden they get all this information, which, don't get me wrong, you want your events to look amazing, but
Yeah.
sometimes when you overpower and you throw, we'll say 25 speakers in 2 days, I mean, that's a lot of different speakers and
It
people to
is.
pick and choose from, and you miss a lot of value,
Yeah.
even if they have recordings and things like that. So that's one thing with HVAC Masters of the Hustle is all of our events, even if we have 300 plus contractors, they feel very personable. You get to talk to the speakers, you get to mingle. It's not all talking, engaging. There's a lot of fun that's involved. Sometimes I bring out a hypnosis that will hypnotize everybody and they do some funny stuff. I
That's
mean, we
cool.
have a wild time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I can agree with the being like overwhelmed with
Too much.
with what's coming at you, because ultimately
Yeah.
you're there and it's like trying to drink from a fire hose. Like, you're gonna miss so much information just because you're trying to take in a little bit at a time. And so I appreciate that you're like slowing it down and
Mhm.
spreading it out, because you just can't. You miss too much. And then to that, if you the information that you're getting, you have to also keep in mind you got to go back and implement it. You
Yes.
have to. Otherwise, what was the point of you attending?
So you have to grab that information
Mhm.
like a sponge and soak it up, because if you don't, what was the point of going?
And you got to implement it right away when you get back, because you forget stuff, right? I mean, I'm so forgetful.
Yeah.
If I don't start implementing right away, I mean, if I wait longer than a week, out of sight, out of mind.
Yep. Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. So how would you recommend on like implementing? So like from the time, so the event's on a Friday, how do you
Transition
what
into
would you recommend that somebody do with that 2-day break before Monday, that next Monday?
So, I mean, gather all your notes, look through everything. A lot of people are flying. So when you're on those planes, right, dissect the notes of what's going on, but implement right processes and procedures of what you want to do. If you're not holding meetings or things like that, pick a day every single day that you're going to hold a meeting with your team. So really dissecting and understanding what needs to be done at the company, and then what do they need to do to implement, because everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
Every company that comes to an event has different struggles, different seasons, different walks of life that they're in. So each person might have to implement something else, but just know that, don't be fearful to make change within your company, because that's where a lot of business owners and managers fear is, hey, if I go back in and I start changing this, I might lose my install team or I might lose my technician. Don't be fearful. Don't be handcuffed to your employees. I had a
That
podcast
means you no
last week with
longer
Tommy Mello, and he stated that.
Yeah. You are no longer in control when you allow the fear to control you.
Yes.
And so if you're fearful that your employees are gonna leave or you're gonna not have anybody left, regardless if you put them through training or not, that's a still like that fear's still gonna live.
Yep.
Like, so make the changes, because ultimately the changes are already gonna be set in place for the person who replaces them.
Yes.
So, yeah. Mhm. You guys are all shaking your head.
Yeah.
Like, what else you gonna say?
No. So I just wanted to ask this question. What are you excited about now, knowing that you're going to be presenting on stage?
Be in the fire, bring in the fire, be in the fire, and letting everybody know that to not be scared, jump off, take, and don't be what holds you, but don't be what holds you back. You came here for a reason. You just have to make sure that when you go back to work for that very next day that you're there, you're taking that reason and you're exploding it, and you're bringing the fire back to your business, and you're setting it completely on fire, and you're just running with that heat. Like, you came to this event to learn something, and what did you learn? How are you going to implement it? Are you going to have the right mindset? Like, you came because either one, you were like, this is it. I don't know what else to do. Or you came because you're like, okay, I've done everything. I've done all that already. I need something else. I need something else. Like, you came with either one of those mindsets, and you've got to now decide what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're either going to go and do everything that you learned, or you're going to go and go, yeah, that was a cool event.
And I want to close it with this. Life is too short. And the reason why I said that is I had the opportunity to talk to a business owner last Thursday, and it was on Zoom. And this gentleman was super, super excited to get his company to the next level. He kept saying, I just need a piece of the pie, Jason. I just need a piece of the pie. Well, just to let you all know, talking about life is too short, he ended up passing away over the weekend.
Oh,
So I had a training scheduled with him and his team for an online training tomorrow, which is Thursday.
yeah.
And Monday, I had a call from his wife saying that unfortunately, something happened over the weekend and he's no longer with us. And you talk about life being too short. And, right now is the time.
Yep.
You ask people, hey, hey, I'm going to start working out, but I'm going to start working out on Monday, right? Why Monday? Why wait next month? Why wait till January for whatever it is, right? Why
Yeah.
can't you stop right now? You're listening to the podcast. When we
Yep.
end the podcast, why can't you start taking action now? And not just taking action, but taking massive action.
Yeah.
Because I want to tell everyone that's listening to this podcast, you have greatness inside of you. You have to dive in, believe in yourself, and pull that beast out. Because if I went into a call, or if I went to the mindset of Jason Walker and not pulling out the beast of J-Dub Moneymaker, right? I can't look my kids in the face and say, hey, you know what? I apologize that I can't take you to Disneyland because I'm too much of a chicken shit to ask for the order, right? Or to deliver the highest value to customer service to my homeowner.
Yep.
Like, that's what you have to do, is you have to wake up and not just give 100%, but give 120%. And I ask this question all the time, is ask yourself, are you giving 100%? Are you giving 90%? Are you giving 80%? A lot of people start raising their hand around 80 and 70%, right? But what you have to do, if you're a person that's coming to work at 80%, 90%, even 100%, it's when you feel like you're at 100%, there's still more potential.
Yeah.
Right. And this is when you use that mentor and that coach to push you that extra 20%, because I'm telling you, your 100% isn't your 100%.
Nope.
I promise you, there is so much more potential that you have inside of you. You just got to believe in yourself like I do.
Yes, absolutely. And to that, with you said life's too short, I 100% agree. And it's easier to pivot than it is to start. So just start and pivot. And that's 100% what we've done for Jason and I. Like we just started and we made small changes. We identified what we wanted to be better, and we pivoted and we pivoted and we pivoted, and here we are.
Boom. Love it.
So
Y'all are rock stars.
Yeah,
thanks.
prayers out to that family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. 100% prayers out to that family. Well, I'm gonna jump off, but I just gotta say I love everything that you both are doing. I'm super
Thank you.
excited to get you a part of the event.
Dude, I'm
Anything that I could do to elevate you and to help you out, please let me know.
Absolutely.
I'm here to, give
Yeah.
you that extra catapult. So
Absolutely.
anything other than that, I'm excited to see you. I'll put you on the marketing piece and let the team know.
Fantastic. All right. Cool deal. Well, as we say on the podcast, fade me out, baby.
Appreciate you guys.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
good afternoon.